Hey y'all, today we're going to go ahead and look at lesson 10 for notes, equation of circles and graphing circles. Now, if you look at the notes for today, it's actually one page, so that's wonderful. All right, so let's take a look at the equation of a circle. It's basically x minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals r squared. Where h and k, this is so important that you need to know this, where h and k is the center of the circle. So we look at the circle right here, this point, that's our center point, we denote that as h and k instead of using x comma y, okay? And we'll talk about x comma y later. And then we also need to know the radius, or we use the letter r for that. So the radius, again, if you recall from the first notes, the radius is essentially a segment where you start from the center of the circle and then you gotta meet towards the circle itself. Okay, so this here is our radius. Now, let me go ahead and highlight this. So r is the radius of the circle. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 1 here. It says write the equation of the circle with the center 1 comma negative 8 and the radius being 7. So what I like to do is I write what's h and k. So h goes first before the k. So our center is h being 1 and k being negative 8, and then the radius is just r. So let me go ahead and rewrite that formula. X minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals r squared. All I gotta do is I gotta replace the h, k, and the radius. So I have x minus 1, the quantity squared, plus y minus negative 8, the quantity squared, equals 7 squared. So notice that I can simplify this. The x minus 1, the quantity squared, is going to remain the same, plus y minus negative 8, the quantity squared, which is just y plus 8, quantity squared, equals 7 squared, which is just 49. And this is the equation of the circle given the information here. This is your answer. Number 2, we have a graph. Now, what I like to do when you're given a graph is I need to identify what the radius is, or we should start off with the center first before the radius, sorry. So here, this is my center point. And the center point of a circle is always h comma k. And then the radius is, again, by definition, is it comes from the center to the circle. You can count from here to here, or from here to there, here to there, and then here to there. So one of the horizontals and one of the verticals, okay? So let's go ahead and write the equation again. So it's x minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, is equal to r squared. So what is h and k? Well, h and k is 0, 4, and your radius, by the way, it's 1, 2, 3, right? So your radius is 3. So I have x minus 0, the quantity squared, plus y minus 4, the quantity squared, equals 3 squared. And I can simplify this as, x minus 0, the quantity squared, would just be x squared, plus y minus 4, quantity squared, equals 3 squared, being 9. That is your answer. Or if you want, you can just write x minus 0, the quantity squared, plus y minus 4, the quantity squared, equals 9. As long as you tell me what 3 squared is. You have to tell me what 3 squared is, okay? So these are your 2 answers. All right. Center at the origin and radius is equal to the square root of 10. Now, when it says origin, that means 0, 0. Okay, that's the center. 0, 0 being the center because it says center at the origin. So you write HK, and then the radius is the square root of 10. Okay, so that's R. So it is x minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, this quantity squared, equals r squared. So x minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared equals the square root of 10, the quantity squared. So we have x squared plus y squared equals the square root of 10 quantity squared is just 10. So this is our answer. Number 4, center at 4, -1, and the diameter being 8. Okay, so this is h and k, that's our center, and then our diameter is 8, so that means the radius has to be 4. So I have x minus 4 quantity squared plus y minus -1, the quantity squared, equals 4 squared, and I get x minus 4 quantity squared plus y plus 1, the quantity squared, equals, and this is where people think 4 squared is 8. Don't make that mistake. 4 squared, 4 times 4, that's 16. And this is your answer. And be sure, I know this is very, very easy. Be sure to use your calculator. Okay, for the basic arithmetic. All right, number 5, the center at -2, 4 and passes through the point -6, 7. Okay, so let me go ahead and write this formula out, the equation of the circles. X minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, is equal to r squared. Now, we have the center, which is h comma k, and we have a point, so this is our point, but where is r? Where is r? So, this is the gameplay. We have our center, but we don't have r. But we have this point here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this is x comma y. Okay? And I'm going to write x, I should write -6 because x is -6 minus 7, the quantity. Oh, no. Sorry. Let me restart over. I'm going to start over. Sorry. I'm going to redo this. So we have x being -6, right? Because x is -6. We have the minus sign here. And then h is -2. Okay? Plus y is 7 minus your k, which is 4, quantity squared, equals r squared. So then -6 minus -2, the quantity squared, is, what is that? So it's -6 plus 2, that's -4, quantity squared, plus 7 minus 4 is, am I doing this right? -6 minus -2, that's plus 2. -6 plus 2 is -4. Good. So 7 minus 4, the quantity squared, is 3 squared, and that equals r squared. So I have -4, the quantity squared, that's -4 times -4, which is positive 16, plus 3 squared, or 3 quantity squared, that's 9, equals r squared. So 16 plus 9 is 25, equals r squared. And look, I gotta solve for r here, so that means I need to take the square root on both sides. So the radius is equal to plus or minus 5, but the radius is always positive, so r is equal to 5. So if r is equal to 5, and we have our center right here, that means I can go ahead and say our answer is x minus, actually this is not going to be our answer because we're going to have to simplify this. It's x minus negative 2, the quantity squared, plus y minus 4, the quantity squared, equals 5 squared. So this becomes x plus 2, the quantity squared, plus y minus 4, the quantity squared, equals 5 squared is 25. And remember, it's 5 times 5, it's not 5 plus 5. So this should not be 10, it should be 25. Okay. Oh, and by the way, you could have just, if you know what r squared is, you didn't need to take the square root on both sides, right? Because our formula is dealing with r squared, and if we know what r squared is, we can just plug 25 in easily. Number 6 asks us to find the points of intersection between the circle x squared plus y squared equals 4 and the line y equals x. Now, point of intersection means that we have to draw a circle and we also have to draw a line, and we're going to see where these two objects meet. That's what it means, point of intersection. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and deal with the circle first. And remember, when we're graphing our circle, you need two things. You need the center and you need the radius. And this is our equation. So I'm going to rewrite this equation as x minus 0, the quantity squared, plus y minus 0, the quantity squared, equals 4, which is r squared. Let's keep that in mind. The center is always h and k. So it's 0, 0. That's our origin. That's our origin. And then the radius is currently r squared being 4. So I'm going to write r squared equals 4. And if I want to solve for r, I got to take the square root on both sides. So that's r equals 2. It's not plus or minus 2 because the radius is always positive. So r is 2. So now that we have the center and then we have the radius, we can go ahead and graph that circle. So we're going to start at the origin, and I'm going to go up 2, right 2, down 2, left 2, because that's our r. The radius is 2. If the radius is 3, by the way, we start at the origin 0, 0, and we go up 3, right 3, down 3, left 3, okay? But we're dealing with the radius of 2. So let's go ahead and connect the dots here. So we should have a circle. So there you go. We graphed our circle. Now we also have to graph this line, y equals x. Now, so this reminds me of y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if I write y equals x, okay, that's essentially y equals 1x plus 0. So this is where I'm going to start, and this is how much I'm going to rise over run. So that's 0 here. I need to start at 0, my y-intercept, and I'm going to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and so on and so forth. And then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go and do down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. And there you have it. So let's connect the dots. I think I did a horrible job doing this, but let me go ahead and redo the dots here. All right, there you go. So again, these two objects are already graphed. So where do they meet? They meet right here and also right here. So what are those 2 points exactly? Well, that's really, really difficult to figure out. So I need to figure out what those 2 points are. So this is what I'm going to do. Now remember, points are in the form x comma y. So what is this point in the form x comma y, and what is this point in the form x comma y? So let me go ahead and write these two equations. So we have x squared plus y squared equals 4, and then y equals x. So I have these two equations, and I want to figure out where they intersect, right? So you have to go and recall Algebra 1. We're going to be dealing with a system of equations, okay? So this is a system of equations. Note that y is equal to x, right? If y is equal to x, then what is this? Well, we have y squared, but we know again that y is equal to x. All I have to do is replace y with x. So what do I get? I get x squared plus x squared again equals 4. And the fact that I have two x squares, I'm just combining them. It's basically 2x squared equals 4. And I gotta go ahead and solve for x squared here. So I gotta divide both sides by 2. So x squared equals 2. Now what? What do I do here? I have to solve for x. I gotta take the square root on both sides. So x equals, what's the square root of 2? Well, that's just gonna be plus or minus the square root of 2. And yes, we're gonna put plus or minus because we are dealing with a graph. So please understand the context of the problem here. So we have to include the plus or minus here. So you should have x equals positive root 2 and x equals negative root 2. Now, look at this. Our points must be in the form x comma y, right? So if I plug in root 2 into this, then what is y? Well, y'all, y is currently x, right? So if I plug in root 2 here, that's y. So this is one of our points, okay? Let's go ahead and figure out. So basically what I'm trying to say is we have 2 points here. Our goal is to figure out what is this point and what is that point. And since this is both positive, the x and y are positive numbers, we're going to strongly assume that this point here is this, okay? So it's root 2 over root 2. But what is this point here? Well, we know that one of our x values is negative root 2. So if I do negative root 2, then what is y? Well, again, y is x, and if I plug in x using negative root 2, then that's my y value. So that is our answer. So these are the points of intersection. Those are your 2 answers. We found what this point here is and what that point here is as well.